So this poor Japanese dude gets hit by Truck-kun and magically isekaid as a baby in a magical world. Lucky for him, he's adopted by none other than the legendary hero Merlin Wolford. Merlin turns him into a powerhouse wizard, but forgets the basics, like common sense. Now, Shin's basically OP, but socially clueless. So, Shin starts off as your typical Japanese corporate zombie working late nights, no hobbies, no girlfriend, just a sad salaryman grinding himself into the ground. One night, after yet another overtime session, he's zoning out on his way home, thinking about how lame his life is, and Truck-kun makes his grand entrance. Shin's new life kicks off with trauma, of course. His first memory is waking up surrounded by wreckage from a demon attack, and he's the only survivor. Pretty grim, but then comes Merlin, the legendary mage who scoops him up and decides, yep, this is my grandson now. And thus begins Shin's childhood of forest life, training, and accidentally becoming way too powerful for his own good. Even at age 8, Shin's already hunting chickens and boars for dinner like it's nothing. When Merlin sees Shin casually using wind magic to slice a boar, he's like, wait, this kid is cracked. And he's not wrong. Unlike everyone else in this world, Shin doesn't need cringe-inducing incantations. He just imagines how stuff works, like fire, wind, you name it. The neighbors, Merlin's buddies, Melinda and Michael, the sword dad, swing by, and Shin gets his first taste of parent-teacher conference energy, with Melinda scolding him for boar hunting. Shin defends himself like a pro though. Relax, I had magic gear and training. I'm good. Fast forward a couple of years, Merlin decides Shin's ready for the big leagues, aka demon hunting. Demons, by the way, are just animals that overdose on magic and lose their minds. Shin learns search magic, which is supposed to take ages to master. Naturally, he nails it instantly. Classic Shin. They find a demon oozing dark vibes, and before Merlin can even yell, wait! Shin goes full Iron Man with jet boots and an ultrasonic sword, and slices it like he's speedrunning a game. Merlin is left standing there, jaw on the floor. Life continues with brutal training and emotional family moments. Merlin eventually tells Shin the truth that he's not his real grandson, but Shin doesn't care. Merlin, Melinda, and Michael are his family. End of story. By the time Shin hits 15, the gang throws him a huge party, complete with VIP guests like King Disium himself. Shin, bless his clueless soul, doesn't even realize he's been hanging out with royalty and war heroes this whole time. When asked about his future goals, Shin admits he doesn't even know how to use money, which stuns the entire room. Merlin never bothered teaching him basic life skills, only world-destroying magic. Priorities, right? Speaking of world-destroying, Shin shows off his fire magic at the party by basically creating a mini nuke. Everyone freaks out, and the king decides it's too dangerous to let this kid run around unsupervised. The solution? Enroll him in a magic academy. Shin's horrified at the thought of school, but hey, it's either that or destabilize the entire world. When they finally head to the capital, Shin gets his first taste of city life, wanders into a sketchy alley, and of course finds himself saving 2 girls from a bunch of thugs. He wipes the floor with them effortlessly, and then love at first sight. Yep, our boy Shin just unlocked his next big adventure, romance. So Shin's chilling at a cafe when he bumps into 2 girls, Maria, a total fangirl for heroes, and Sicilian, the gentle one with angel vibes. They hit it off fast, but things get awkward when Maria starts gushing about the legendary hero Merlin and his son, not realizing she's literally sitting across from that guy. Shin, sweating bullets because he doesn't want to spill the beans, plays it cool, pays for their drinks like a gentleman, and nopes out of there. Fast forward to exam day. Shin's trying to find his name on the board when some stuck-up noble brat, Kurt, decides to grab him by the shoulder. Shin, trained in reflexes, kicking in, twists his arm like he's about to start a WWE match. Kurt, of course, throws around his family name like it's supposed to mean something until Crown Prince August strolls in. With just a few words, August puts Kurt in his place, reminding him that nobles flexing their status at school equals instant punishment. Kurt sulks off, and Shin realizes, wait a second, August is King Dis's son? Since Shin always thought of the king as an uncle, he casually calls August his cousin, which makes the prince laugh instead of getting offended. Instant bromance unlocked. The written exams are whatever. But then comes the practical test. Shin is hyped to finally see some magic, only to be horrified when the first candidate spends forever chanting and barely manages to produce a tiny candle flame. Everyone claps like it's impressive, while Shin is internally screaming. Each student after that isn't much better, and Shin's disappointment levels just keep climbing. When it's his turn, the instructor warns him to tone it down, because even the king knows this kid could blow up the academy. Shin dials it back as much as humanly possible, and still ends up leveling the entire testing room. Results came out, and surprise, Shin is top scorer. That means he has to give the welcome speech at the entrance ceremony. Shin tries to pawn the job off on August, but the prince hits him with the ultimate Uno reverse card rules, say ability doesn't equal privilege. Later that night, instead of sleeping like a normal human being, Shin decides to improve the already enchanted academy uniforms. Using his special pen, he writes in enchantments that not only defend, but also auto-heal and turn magic into raw kinetic energy. Basically, he invents cheat codes for clothes. He's so hyped, he yells out loud, which alerts Merlin and Melita, who are shook. They make him promise not to tell anyone, because otherwise every soldier in the kingdom would line up at his door. At the ceremony, Shin gives his speech while Maria and Sicilian finally realize, oh snap, their new friend is the legendary hero's grandson. Kurt, meanwhile, is in the corner seething like a Saturday morning cartoon villain. Things escalate when Kurt later tries to force Sicilian into an engagement, but Shin steps in, declaring he'll protect her. August backs him up, and Kurt storms off, humiliated. The group ends up visiting Shin's home, where Maria fangirls over meeting her idols, and Shin asks permission to enchant Sicilian's uniform for extra protection. She hesitates, feeling guilty about receiving something so valuable, but Melita reassures her. In the end, Shin enchants the uniforms of basically the whole squad, except Maria, who's like, no thanks, I don't need that kind of pressure. And just like that, Shin's OP circle of friends is officially locked in. The next morning, Shin decides to play knight in shining armor and personally escort Sicilian to school. She's blushing like she just walked out of a romance manga, while Maria third-wheeling behind them looks like she's physically choking on the sugar overload. Their little morning date doesn't last long though, because a blonde girl suddenly sprints into class late, panting like she just ran a marathon. Turns out, she was so hyped for her first day that she didn't even sleep. Shin, meanwhile, is over here questioning why this world considers 15-year-olds full-grown adults. Honestly, same. Their teacher shows up, and instead of starting lessons, drags the class around on a school tour like some magical field trip. He proudly explains all the clubs: Magic Club, Potion Making Club, Bodybuilding Club, you know, the essentials. Julius immediately gets stars in his eyes at the bodybuilding club, but August, being a bro for once, gives him the green light, thrilled he can finally get rid of his escort for once in his royal life. When it's Shin's turn, he's completely clueless about which club to join. August suggests making his own, and the teacher, instead of shutting it down like any sane adult would, actually supports it. The rest of the class is all for it too, but then Thor pipes up with the very important question. So what's this club even for? Alice suggests making it a hero fan club, but apparently that already exists because of course it does. In the end, they decide it'll be the Ultimate Magic Study Group, basically a squad dedicated to mastering super advanced magic under Shin's tutoring. The next day, the group finds out Kurt's been grounded finally, some justice, but Shin can't help wondering why the guy went full jerk mode in the first place. Turns out, he wasn't always this unhinged. Things only went downhill after he started hanging around with some shady teacher, Mr. Oliver, who apparently saw talent in him. Translation: red flags everywhere. Sicilian looks a bit sad, thinking now that Kurt's out of the picture, she won't need Shin to walk her to school anymore. But when Shin assures her he's still going to be her escort every morning, her face goes tomato red, and she nearly combusts on the spot. While they're chatting, Shin casually drops the bomb that his search magic can actually detect ill intent. Everyone's jaws hit the floor. Then he makes it worse by casually admitting he once killed a 3-meter demon bear when he was just 10 years old. Yeah, 10. While most kids are learning multiplication, Shin was out here soloing boss monsters. No big deal. But before the group can fully recover from their collective shock, trouble arrives literally. Shin senses a demonic presence near the cafeteria, and lo and behold, it's Kurt, storming in like a villain of the week and immediately attacking with fire magic. Shin barely holds up a barrier and tells the squad to power up their uniforms. The flames are brutal, his hands get roasted, but luckily his auto-healing kicks in. Then things get even worse. Kurt starts oozing this creepy negative aura and begins transforming into a full-on demon. Shin tells August to get everyone to safety, but August doesn't love being sidelined. Still, he listens, and Shin gets ready for a one-on-one boss fight. Of course, an epic showdown. Shin activates his blue flames, dodging Kurt's fiery explosions with style while throwing back some lightning strikes. But Kurt's gone full demon rage mode and won't go down. Shockingly, he even starts cursing at Shin, which is terrifying because demons aren't supposed to be able to talk like that. As Kurt's power builds up dangerously, it's clear he's about to blow himself up and the entire school with him. Desperate, Shin whips out his ultrasonic blade and charges in, cutting Kurt down before he can explode. The fight's over, but the victory feels heavy. Shin drops to his knees, realizing he just killed someone. Not a demon, not a monster, but a person. When his friends rush in, instead of scolding him, they just stare in awe. Their Shin, the same guy who blushes around Sicilian, just single-handedly defeated a demonized student. It's official. He's not just their classmate, he's their hero. So, Oliver, yeah, that shady mentor guy, turns out he's the genius behind Kurt's demon glow-up. And now, he's got Shin in his sights. Shin, meanwhile, is just staring blankly out the window like he's the main character in some sad romance drama. August barges in and drops some big brain logic. There's no way Kurt accidentally turned himself into a demon dude, barely had the magical IQ to heat up instant ramen, let alone botch a spell into demon transformation. So, conclusion? Kurt wasn't unlucky. He was basically a lab rat. Human experimentation. Yeah, gross. Later, Shin heads home only to find the king and his royal entourage waiting at his doorstep like Amazon Prime with overnight delivery. Turns out, Shin's demon-slaying stunt is the talk of the nation. The king slaps him with the first merit honor medal faster than you can say political pawn. Shin's confused. Merlin's pissed. But the king's like, relax. This isn't about politics. It's just that the people already think you're a hero, and I'm not about to ruin my approval ratings. Merlin has no choice but to nod, but you just know he's secretly seething. The next day, Shin can't even walk down the street without turning into a celebrity crush magnet. Girls are swooning left and right, but luckily, Cicely's glued to his side, giving off strong Taken vibes that make everyone else back off. Meanwhile, at school, Shin's brand new club becomes so popular, the poor teacher's sweating bullets, wondering if he needs to start charging admission. To thin the herd, he makes a rule. Only students who can use dimensional storage are allowed in. After the magical dust clears, only 2 pass. Mark Bean, the blacksmith's son who can barely hammer out a butter knife, and Olivia Stone, the diner girl everyone already adores because her family serves bomb food. Mark's starstruck by Shin's weapon game and asks about his demon-killing blade. Shin just casually drops. Oh, it's not special, just a regular sword that vibrates at ultrasonic speed. Totally normal. Mark looks like someone just told him Santa wasn't real, but Shin explains how fragile the blades are and how he wants to upgrade. Then Yuri, a classmate and budding enchanter, chimes in, fangirling over Shin's talent. But Shin hypes her up instead, and even promises to introduce her to Melida. Dude's basically the best wingman for magic careers. Meanwhile, the knights drag Oliver in for questioning. But surprise, he flips the switch from innocent teacher to evil scientist real quick. He confesses to experimenting on people, demonizing Kurt, and is about ready to dip. But Shin and the squad stumble into the fight and it's go time. Shin clashes with Oliver. Swords and flames flying, but nothing sticking. Oliver reveals his true form. Yup, another demon, but this time, one with full control and an ego the size of the castle. He even breaks his glasses in dramatic anime villain fashion just to flex. Shin's pissed, and after some flashy back and forth, he busts out the big guns. A devastating sunlight laser spell that turns the battlefield into glass. When the dust settles, everyone's in awe, especially since Shin basically weaponized the sun like it was his personal death ray. The knights and court magicians thank him, then beg him to explain the magic. Shin starts nerding out with the explanation, but it's so advanced, even the top mage's brain blue screens. Classic Shin breaking the world's magic system one casual spell at a time. The very next day, Shin and the gang stroll over to Mark's blacksmith shop, but while everyone else is all smiles, Shin's carrying a storm cloud over his head. He's convinced Shrum isn't dead, and when he explains why, the mood instantly shifts. Apparently, that massive sunlight laser he used didn't cause an explosion, just melted the ground into glass. So the huge kaboom they all heard? Probably a smoke bomb distraction cooked up by Oliver makes his big escape. August, who's usually the chill royal prince, goes wide-eyed like, oh crap, he's right. And since Shin's basically the only guy who can go toe-to-toe with Demon Nerd 2.0, August insists he order whatever gear he wants. The royal wallet is wide open, Shin's personal treat-yourself day. When they finally get to the smithy, Mark and Olivia are waiting. The girls immediately drag Olivia away for gossip time, while the boys head inside. Mark's dad isn't thrilled with the crowd invading his workshop until August casually drops his royal identity. Instant kneeling and panicking comes in when he finds out Shin's not only the great sage's grandson, but also the freshly minted national hero. The poor guy practically short circuits. Still, he's fired up about making Shin's weapon, so the order's placed. The mission, get Shin his fancy toys, is a success. But outside, things take a hilarious turn. Cicely and Maria have Olivia all riled up, while Shin suddenly gets distracted by the fact that the shop sells housewares on one floor and accessories on another. Naturally, he turns to Cicely and asks if she wants to check out accessories. She instantly blushes tomato red, assuming he's about to pull the classic surprise engagement ring move. Instead, Shin casually explains he just wants to buy her a defensive trinket for safety. What a down! Everyone else is staring at him like he just kicked a puppy, so he awkwardly drags Cicely off shopping anyway. She makes him choose for her, and he picks a fancy ring. He slips it on her hand, tells her it'll protect her in his place, and romance points redeemed. A few days later, it's award ceremony time. Shin gets paraded in front of nobles, gets a medal slapped on him, and then the king shuts everyone up with a bold announcement. Shin is off. Limits for politics and military. Break that deal, and Merlin's family walks out of the country. Talk about royal mic drop. Back at school, Shin shows off his new gate magic, popping into class like it's a fast travel system from a video game. Lynn's curious about how it works, but Shin's explanation sounds more like quantum physics than magic. When he decides to show off his full magical control, the pressure nearly suffocates everyone. Lesson learned. Until they can control their magic at that level, they've got no shot against demons. Later, the squad hangs at Shin's place, meeting the legendary Merlin and the Guru. They're blown away to learn Shin basically reinvented magic by himself. Merlin even flexes by using gate magic too, proving the old man still got it. Inspired, the students train harder, though poor Lynn nearly blows herself up in the process. To cap it off, Shin checks out Mark's prototype sword, basically a weapon with replaceable blades. August immediately sees dollar signs, imagining how it could save the army money. With war looming against the Bluffia Empire, the tensions rising, August promises Shin won't be dragged in, but Shin, ever the overprotective hero, declares that if his friends are in danger, he's jumping into battle no matter what.